Good morning and welcome to City Talk. It's the weekly program we produce. It's a radio program, it's a podcast, and it's a television program from the city of Waco that we want to inform you about the great things that are happening in Waco and keep you informed of what's going on. Today I've got the very great pleasure of having two lovely ladies who are so hardworking in our Waco McLennan County Public Libraries. First of all, the director of the library, Essie Day.
Hi, Larry. How are you?
I'm good. And also Jessica Emmett, who is the communications service, community services supervisor.
Yeah.
But you do a lot of the communications.
I do, yeah.
Well, we're social distancing for those of you who are on the radio. We are keeping so we're in our TV studio, not the radio set that we normally do. But we're here to talk about some great things that are happening starting this week, actually. The library system has been closed all throughout the shelter in place. Talk about that, Essie.
We closed on March 16th for 3 months. Can barely believe it's been 3 months. So when we got the phone call that we needed to close down, staff went into the library to get things ready to start curbside service. So the very second week we were closed, we started Curbside Service, which I'm incredibly proud of. The staff worked really hard to get that up and running immediately.
Curbside, and I want to talk about that because you've had, as you mentioned, incredible turnaround and great things happening on that. Describe how that happened, how that worked, because you all knew the library was going to be closed for who knows when.
Exactly.
And so then y'all made a move and designed something that probably y'all hadn't done before, had you?
No, we had never done it before. It had been something that the managers and I had talked about because we noticed that a lot more people are using curbside, like at your HEB, and they love the Amazon picking material up like that. And so we had talked about possibly doing it as a pilot program with the South Waco Library because they have the great turnaround in the front of the building. And then when this happened, we thought, okay, let's kick it into high gear and make it happen. And we had some snafus in the beginning because, we had never done this. But Jessica was wonderful in promoting it and getting the word out. We had IT come in and help us set up the, phone call system. So people could call us to tell us, that they were out back or out front, and we would run the material out to them. So libraries are just starting to do it now, Larry, and so we're really proud, and I have to brag about the staff.
You should.
Because they've done an amazing job, and so we have other libraries contacting us saying, how did you do it? We want to do it now, too.
That's what we love, don't we?
We do love
We are
that.
an innovative city, and it's really, as sad as it is, most people don't realize how innovative and many departments are.
That is true, especially in libraries. Like we find we have to stay ahead of the game. People still think of libraries as this quiet place where they come in and read and, everybody shushes you. And it's not like that anymore. It's more of a community center where people come in and, they know the staff, they know each other. They have relationships with the children's librarians, and it's a wonderful feeling.
Well, the Curbside Works basically, see if I describe it the way it is, a person get online, your library catalog,
Yes.
find a book, no matter where it's located in whatever library or the 4 library locations it is, and request to pick it up. Let's say I live in the West Waco Library area. I want to pick it up at the West Waco Library. Then you all will notify them when it's going to be available.
Yes.
And then they just go over there during a designated time and maybe just call and say, we're here.
Yep.
Just like curbside pickup.
Yeah, we're going to hire you, Larry. That was excellent. You know how to do it now.
And then they bring it out and set it on a table. So
Yes, because that's what's different. Because of social distancing, we will put it on the table and walk away, and then people get out of their car and pick it up. So it's no contact, no touch. The staff is incredibly careful with how they manage the material. So we feel this is the safest alternative for people because they weren't allowed to come into the building. The governor's plan said 25% capacity and no interactive functions. So our computers were interactive. And so we thought, okay, we can't have people use the computers. We can't have them hanging out inside the library, which we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But this was the best alternative. Yeah. And so people love it. They are wanting us to continue to do it after we reopen. And we're trying to see how we can do that. It's incredibly hard to manage both in-house and, the outside services, but we're looking at it.
I know part of it is you talked about the selection, they pick it up, but then when you brought it back, you all had to sanitize those books because
Yes.
they've been in the hands of people,
Yes.
the touch part of it. And that's part of, I think, what we'll talk about maybe a little bit, about the opening now of the libraries, people perusing the books and things and checking out something, but then how do you get people from looking at it and whatever else? And that, so it's...
Yeah, when we reopen on Monday, it's going to look a little bit different because we are going to have what we call grab and go. So we want people to come in and get their material, check it out, and then go. So it's kind of funny because we said, welcome back, now leave. No.
Exactly right.
The mayor said no social gathering and no groups larger than 10, so we want to follow those guidelines, and so we're not letting people come in and stay all day. But we do want people to come in and get their material. And we're going to continue curbside because there are some people who are still, a little bit worried about coming into the library. But we do want to say that all the material that is returned is quarantined for 4 days. Okay. So we went by the American Library Association guideline and CDC, and all of these organizations put out guidelines on how long they think the virus can live on certain types of material. And so we want to be super safe, so we're going to say 4 days. And so that will cause some of your holds to be not available as quickly as normally, but that's a price we have to pay to be able to make sure that the material's safe.
And Jessica, I know you all have made some major changes in the overall library when it opens. We're recording this on Thursday the 11th, so by the time this starts airing, the library system will be open for the first time in, 6 weeks? 8 weeks?
3 months.
Yeah, 3 months.
Exactly.
But I know you all have made some changes, just as he was saying, as far as the library itself, about the furniture and your programs have had to be reduced. And I mention that because I have the City Limits newsletter that we put out with water utility bills, and this is the June issue, just to show you all how much this library system does. This whole page right here is created for us to find out what all programs you all have. Sad thing is, when this came out with the May water bills, that's the way we do it, most all of this was not able to be provided. But it's excellent programming that you all do year-round. So a lot of those programs have changed. So tell us about, how you've had to adjust that and how maybe you're going to pick up and provide some of them, either virtually or whatever.
Yeah, so since we have to avoid large social gatherings, right? And basically, libraries are all about large social gatherings, so that's been a huge change for us to make those adjustments. And so what we have tried to offer in its place is to have some online virtual programs. So we've done some video-based programs, and what we kind of did was we looked back at how our programming, what was the most popular stuff. So our story times, those are a staple, right? Our crafting programs, and then our STEAM-based programs also, people really, really like those, and they're always very popular. So we kind of focused on those 3 areas to kind of create some video content that people can access from home. They can look at it on their phone or on their tablets, and in the same way that a lot of kids really follow YouTube and they really learn by videos, and they've been doing that with their schooling. We kind of wanted to fit into that mold a little bit, and so we've got things going on every week, and we've put everything on our regular online calendar, so people who are used to checking that to see what's going on with the programs can check that, and we're updating it as we get more information. So
you all have moved to different ways. The new norm, as we keep talking about
right.
it, and that's the sad thing is we don't know what the new norm is going to end up being. Mm-hmm. We hope the social distancing is really more space distancing rather than social, because we need to social interact.
We
still,
do.
And those kinds of things. One of the things that in the sheet that you prepared and brought before that always helps me know what I'm talking about. I'd like to talk about it. New cards issued, 401 new library cards. To me, that is an indicator, and I'm sure it is for you. Talk about what that means to you all as a library and how people are using it.
Well, about a year ago, Jessica came to me and said, we really need to allow people to register for library cards online. And I was hesitant at first because, I always have to think of, oh gosh, what are the unintended consequences of this? And I said, we'll try it as a trial basis. And I'm so happy that we had it in place, because with this closing, we had so many people that said we want to download ebooks and audiobooks, or we want to use curbside and we don't have a card. How can we make that happen? And so Jessica has been wonderful monitoring our social media, and every day I say, oh, thank goodness she's doing it, because it's exhausting. It's a 24-hour day job just keeping up with that. And so people can go online and register for a card, and they have immediate access to our digital material. And then we weren't sure how we were going to allow them to use curbside, because in order to get a card, we have to see proof of residency and photo ID. So then our reference librarian said, we'll take care of that. If they can scan it and email it to us, we will make sure that it is all, good, and that they are who they say they are, and we'll give them a temporary card. And so that has been amazing. And 400 new cards in 3 months when we're closed is phenomenal. And just with curbside alone, we're checking out thousands of books every week. I know last week I had to send out an email to the staff saying, great job, because they had over 900 people at the 4 locations last week come to the door, and they checked over 3,000 items. Wow. So we're doing about 25% of our normal checkout in the curbside alone.
We're providing people something to do during the boring times as it may be, stay at home, a shelter in place, and all those type of things. Answering who would have thought? Because again, the old adage that libraries are going to die because of all the technology that we have now.
Oh, I hate when people say that. You know what? They do that, don't they? Yes, it's so wrong.
Yeah, it is.
We are here, more vibrant.
And I attribute that a whole lot of the innovation and what you all have done to step forward and be on top of it. Because you talked about the online resources. Mm-hmm. You have a ton of online resources. So have a library card is what provides those things to you all. Mm-hmm. And I'm not even going to get into the genealogy and all that kind of stuff, Bill Buckner and all that kind of stuff. Some of those online services, and they're far exceeding the things that you would do with Ancestry.com or whatever that you think you would get without the library. You all have so many other resources in addition to that.
Yeah. So well, we recently joined the Cloud Library Consortium with about 20-some other libraries in Central Texas. And so our patrons have access to over 100,000 titles, which we, at the City of Waco, we couldn't afford that to buy them all on our own. So, we contribute some, and every library contributes some, and then all of our patrons have access to everything. And the numbers are skyrocketing. Like, it was 315%, I think, went up during this closing. And so what we're hoping is that after we reopen, everybody knows how wonderful the library is, and they continue to come.
Well, and they will.
We think
and
so.
And again, now are you all under? You mentioned 25%. All that we know, the 25 and 50, and some for the businesses. Mm-hmm. What is the numbers that when you're opening on the 15th?
Well, we'll be at 50% occupancy unless the governor comes out before Monday, because he could possibly do that. And at 50% occupancy rate, we believe that we're going to be okay in all the locations, because without programs, people don't hang out as much. A lot of times people come early, they get their material, they stay for a program, they hang out afterwards. And now that we're not going to allow people to, sit, we had to remove all of our chairs and a lot of our tables, unfortunately. So we won't have people just, sitting there on their laptops and using the Wi-Fi. And so I don't think we're going to hit the 50%. I think we'll be safe.
Offering public computers is something you all have done, because there's a lot of people that do not have them. You all have actually had classes to help people who do not have any literacy on computers at all to step forward and do that. I know you've got computers available, but you're doing it by appointment only.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah.
Sadly. I know both of you are capable of.
Yeah. Well, I'll answer that, because it's something we had to do. We had to put the computer 6 feet apart. And so if you've been in the library, you know that all of the tables are connected, that, little corrals are connected. So it's like every other computer. And so now that we have fewer computers, we had to go by appointment only. In the past, you could stay on it for longer than an hour if nobody was waiting. And now we're asking people to go online, and they can do it on the phone. So even if they don't have access to the computer, they can, go on their telephone and reserve a spot, or they can call us and reserve a spot. And so when they come in, the staff member will log them into the computer, give them their 1 hour, and then when they leave, the staff member will wipe down the computer. We have the Lysol and Clorox and everything, and, clean as best they can for the next person to come. And so I think that's going to be the most challenging for staff and patrons, because, we have been so accommodating and free and helpful with our computers. And, staff loves to sit and help people, but they're not going to be allowed to. they're going to have our masks, but we're asking the public to wear masks, but we can't make them.
Sure.
And so in order for the staff to stay safe, they have to practice social distancing. And so if you need assistance on the computer, maybe bring a friend or a family member. I like to tease the older people like my dad and say, bring a grandchild. They'll help you there. They can show you how to do everything on the computer.
Sure can. If you just joined us, we're visiting with S.E. Day, who's the director of the Waco McLennan County Libraries, the 4 locations, and worldwide those by the internet, and Jessica Emmett, who is the community services supervisor. I keep wanting to make that. My notes here say COMM, so that's communications.
You've got communication brain. That's what.
Communication brain. You mentioned that the library staff will be wearing masks and things like that. Let's go a little more depth into the safety measures that you all are providing to make sure that everybody knows that, as is most restaurants and businesses, we all recognize that in order to make this whole thing work for all of us, we have to do our own part in the whatever business it is. And I was at a restaurant the other day and very disappointed the fact that I didn't see any masks being worn by the servers or in the kitchen. And I'm sorry, but I'm not going back there.
In the kitchen?
And we should be that way.
Yeah.
And so I did make a note and say, hey, listen, for whatever it's worth, you all should be wearing them. And I think we need to help each other police the idea that we need to do better at what we're doing. So anyway, what is the library doing?
Well, all of the staff will be wearing masks, and we got the acrylic shields to go up in front of at all the public service desks. So if the child walks up to the children's desk, there'll be the shield there. The same with the reference and genealogy and the circulation desks. We are doing the social distancing. We had to remove all of the toys and games and puzzles from the children's area.
Things, yeah.
Oh, that made us so sad, because the kids love to come in there and play. And we already talked about the computers. Am I missing quarantining the material as it's returned?
Yeah.
So I think we're doing as much as we possibly can.
Yeah.
And to that point, we are still offering curbside. So if somebody is hesitant to come in, if somebody's in the vulnerable population that, the mayor talks about, we wanted to give them an opportunity to still be allowed to check out their material. And so we're going to do the curbside up until 5:30, but the library will be open till 6, Monday through Friday, 10 to 6.
We're just a lot of great service hours in that. All right, let's talk about the summer programs, because one of your big programs always is a summer reading program. And obviously you can read without having to be someplace like that, but you've got a lot of things listed here, so I want you to go down the list and tell people that in spite of the fact that many of the things in our City Limits newsletter that are listed are maybe not going to be able to happen, you've provided the opportunity for not only kids, but adults.
Yeah.
You've got adult programs.
Yeah, our summer reading club is for all ages. So we do this year, one thing that's different is we actually split our kids division to where there's sort of a division for kids who maybe aren't independent readers, and we call that the Read to Me. And then we have our readers who are reading on their own kind of elementary school age. Then we have our teens and our adults. So we want to be inclusive and invite everybody to be a participant of that. Last year was our first year to have an app that you could log your reading that way. And this year we actually have a new app, and it's called Beanstack. And we're really excited about that. And people have been signing up. It's pretty user friendly. And so that's been really nice. And we're always available to help people kind of walk through that process as well. It's a great thing. People can log their reading, and in addition to being able to earn points by reading books, you can also earn points by doing activities. So a lot of these things we didn't know when we planned it that people were going to be in the situation that they are now, maybe at home more, maybe not able to do kind of all the social gatherings that we normally try to do in the summer, play dates and things like that. But there's a way to earn points by going to out in your neighborhood and picking up trash or blowing bubbles, just things that encourage you to kind of get out and enjoy the summer, go look for fireflies, things like that. So just sort of that. And then also there are badges that you can earn by reading under a tree or going and kind of like shaking up your routine a little bit, which I know when we were telecommuting, the routine got a little boring. And so it's nice if somebody says, hey, here's a way you can shake that up and also earn points points towards some reading club prizes. So.
And your new app is free, so
It
there's
is,
no cost
absolutely.
for that, so you don't have to pay $1 or $2 or whatever like
yeah.
you want on the app and things like that. But
And a nice thing is too with the app, people, if you had grandkids come in who were visiting and maybe they don't have a library card, you can actually sign up without a library card for that. So we just want people to participate and do that. So even if they're visiting.
I know you've got down here an alternative to your very popular program of your Storytime and things like that, and you've expanded that. So it's not only have you developed a way to do it without being in close proximity, but you're also bringing in some big stars,
Yes.
local stars,
No, that's great.
to be able to do that. And I say local stars because we respect our city council members and the mayor. We have fire and police staff members of the city of Waco and other city employees as well. So talk about some of those programs because, again, Storytime is one of your
Yeah, so
more popular programs.
Storytime is our staple for sure. Everybody knows what that means. And it's great for people who are at home to kind of see that familiar face of the children's librarian on their TV or on their phone or on their screen, however they're watching it. And so we've got those coming out every week. We've got one of our children's librarians, and then we also have been sharing the videos of other city employees. We love working with other city departments anytime we get the chance, and it's wonderful that they have been supportive of the idea of Storytime and coming in, taking their time to come in and share stories that mean something to them. And those have been so much fun to watch and to share. And I know we've gotten really great feedback via social media that people are really enjoying those videos.
Well, I know during the shelter in place, your operation has had to shut down, and more or less, but you retained your staff.
Yes.
And did any of your staff go to other areas as far as repurposing or helping with other areas? Because you mentioned some of the things that you're talking about. You've repurposed some new style things in your own organization, but I know a lot of different departments have shared people.
We didn't have to, not that we don't want to help other departments, but we had so much work. There's a lot of behind the scenes work that goes on in a library that people aren't aware of. And this year we did inventory. It was probably the first time we had done inventory system wide. And that alone is scanning every single item in the library, which we have close to 400,000 items. And then, you run your reports and look for the material. A lot of people were planning ahead for their programs. They were working with Jessica to videotape the programs. And then we have a electronic database that keeps all of the records of every item we own. And we were going in there and cleaning up those records. And it was a lot of work, plus doing curbside. So, when you're checking out 3,000 books, that's somebody walking to the shelf, pulling the book, scanning it, getting it in a bag, and ready to go.
Made me appreciate you all a whole lot more because
Yeah.
I can see how that could definitely, when you said 400,000 items and things, and that's just a lot of materials. And sometimes this can almost be, I hate to say the COVID would be a blessing to have, but it's a nice time to put a pause sometime and be able to say, now we're going to be able to do some of the things we never have all the staff time and everything to be able to do.
That is
Try to make the best of it, that's
We did. And if you talk to Bill Buckner, he is over in genealogy. He is so happy because he's working on a map project, and I just talked to him yesterday, and he said, we never had time to do this map project. We're so happy. I want to open up, and I'm happy to open up.
Yeah.
So
But
we
let me
always,
finish this one.
so he's like, but can I finish my map project?
Well, we all know what Zoom means, and y'all have done a lot
Yes.
of Zoom meetings and book clubs. But you've got a book club, I think, that's been meeting with Zoom.
Yeah. Our Books and Brews Club, which is a monthly book club for adults, and we normally go and frequent local restaurants and establishments around town. We haven't been able to do that, so the last couple months we have done Zoom meetings, which have been. They're not as good, but they're still nice. It's nice to be able to see the faces, and kind of reconnect with our club. And then we have a children's book club that's going to be starting in July. It normally runs in June and July, but this year it's going to just be in July, and they're going to be meeting via Zoom also. So that should be fun. Kids are Zoom experts now that a lot of them have done that for school, and so that should be really successful. And they're going to be able to hopefully get a little bit of socialization at the same time Storytime, and we're encouraging them to read the book. So we've got that going on, and then we also have our text message based scavenger hunt, which has been weirdly successful. We weren't sure how people were going to do that. It was a completely new thing, and it's been really great. Every day we get messages from people who are starting the scavenger hunt, and it takes you all over downtown and a little bit down by the zoo sculptures. So we just wanted people to see kind of what was going on downtown, and they can do that in a small group where they're not violating any of the absolutely people that you live with, and or on their own. Or we even have had people who basically drove the whole way. So they stayed in their cars, stay in the shade, take some water. It's about 1.5 miles. So
Larry, I did it last Saturday, my husband and I, and it was so much fun. And so
it sounds fun.
You should do it. You can go on your phone and just text the number. It's so easy, and it was a hoot.
And now this information is on your website as far as how to get to it. So
yeah.
Any of these programs we're talking about, you can go to the city's website, waco-texas.com, which will take you to the Waco Library.
Or you can just go to wacolibrary.org.
There you go.
Straight
That's what
to
I'm
us.
saying. Yeah. It directly takes you to that.
Yep, directly to us.
All those things.
And all the information about our reopening procedures and our online summer programming and what's kind of coming up is all on that very front page.
Yeah. Well, you've got a lot of things. I know you all do crafts and things. Now, I know you're already planning for when things will be totally open again. And we don't know because, as you indicated before, the governor may say something this week.
Yeah.
We may change things. So at some point in time, you'd like to get your library story times and some of your meeting rooms filled up again, or at least half filled, something like that. Is that something you're kind of planning for and you're ready to exercise pretty quickly if needs to be?
I think we can do it fairly quickly. Right now we have all of the furniture in the meeting rooms and the conference rooms, blocking them. But I think it's just a matter of pulling the furniture out and, putting it where it belongs and opening up the meeting rooms to the public, because everybody can go online and register, and sign up for a meeting room. And so the public will be allowed to do that. And we just don't know when. So I kind of have like phase 1, we did curbside. Phase 2, we're doing a combination curbside and limited hours and adjusted services. And phase 3, I'm really hoping it's back to normal. I really want to get back in there and work with everybody.
I think
we miss it. Our staff has been wonderful, and I just have to say our friends group, you know how wonderful they are. They funded the new Beanstack app, and they funded all the prizes for the Summer Reading Club. So all of the badges Jessica was talking about, you earn prizes, and they paid for all of that, and they've just been so super in helping us with all of our programs.
Which brings the point up about the Friends of the Library book sale, which you always have as a big event. And I think you all are at least moving forward to plan on that happening sometime. When is that going to be?
October 16th through the 18th at Chisholm Hall at the Convention Center. I know they did it last year at the Convention Center, so I want to tell everybody that it's going to be upstairs in the big hall this year. Last year was downstairs, and I guess they just overflooded the room, so they said this year we need something bigger. Until we can get back in the Extraco Center, we'll be at the Convention Center.
Right.
So that's, October.
But that is a huge fundraiser for the Friends who provide most of the summer reading programs and things that you all always have.
Sure.
And it's just a great opportunity to pick up some books, actually hard copy books, to own for a time, and then you bring it back next year and you sell it.
They do that.
But then the benefit comes financially to the Friends. So it's just a great group that,
Almost all their money, almost 100%, comes back to the library. They bought the pop-up library van that, our community services team goes to assisted living facilities and community centers and outreach to the seniors, senior citizens in Waco, because some of them can't come to the library and they love to read. And so this is an opportunity for them. And Jessica said once, if you're ever depressed, go out with us, because they're just so happy to see us. It just warms your heart to see people so appreciative.
Yeah. Now, every summer, Miss Stacy always has a teen puppet type thing. Is that going to not happen this year?
I don't think that's going to be able to happen this
that's a
year.
loss.
Yeah, that is.
That's the joy that you all create, and then those teenagers not only write the script, produce it, and all that kind of stuff, but it's just great programs and things. We got about a minute left. I want to make sure that we cover everything. But all this stuff is online, available. Go to our city website, waco-texas.com or wacolibrary.org. It's all right. It's going to go to the same location and talk all about the opportunity. And over 3,000 items in 1 week checked out on the
curbside
pickup. and more. And if you don't have a library card, get one. They're free.
They're free.
They're free.
They can do that online as well.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so those are just great things. Well, I want to thank Essie Day, who's the director of the Waco McLennan County Libraries, as well as Jessica Emmett, who is the Community Services Supervisor. I got it right. Have joined us for that. I really appreciate all the creative things that you all have done to make this difficult time that we're still into right now a safe one and feel good and entertain us more than television and some of the things that we're all involved with. And just getting by. It's going to get better. And
I think it will.
Yeah. Thank you all so much for being with us.
Thank you, Larry. Thanks for having us. It was fun.
We hope you'll join us again next week for more information about the City of Waco on City Talk. This program is produced by the Municipal Information Department of the City of Waco and is provided as a public service by this station.